message for someone who is maybe fighting for something, fighting or waiting or working on something, that there is a frustration of purpose, and it feels like I keep building and it keeps getting slammed down, or I keep building and I keep having to wait longer. And there is a hunger that is ignited inside of you when something doesn't come easy. And a lot of times God will put things in our path to create that hunger, because you fight different, you appreciate different, you work different when you had to wait on something, or when it didn't come easy to you. You steward it different. Once you get it, you appreciate it in a different way, because it wasn't handed to you. You had to work for it, you had to negotiate, you had to advocate for it, or you had to really wait on God, when are the resources coming, or when is the rite of passage for me to get this rolling coming. And when it doesn't come easy, your appreciation for it is different for a much longer period of time. So that was the first message in there, is that when you're fighting, when you're waiting, when you're working on something, it changes your appreciation for it. And God a lot of times is trying to change our perspective and our appreciation for something, which is why these roadblocks a lot of time come in the course of our purpose. So that's the first message. The other part of that was that once they got fed up with waiting and they decided, you know what, we're not waiting anymore. We are officially building, regardless of who is for us and who is against us. Once they got to that place, it got the attention of the king at that time. And by getting his attention, they told him, look, we already got authorization from the previous king to build a house. These people keep coming up against our purpose, but we already were authorized. Search through the scrolls, search the king's house, find the proof. And he declared this ordinance long ago that we are authorized to build. So the king did the searching and he found that they were right. So because of that, not only did he authorize them to build, he said, don't stop them and give to them whatever they need. So from the very place that they were made captive, the resources came from that place. So I just want to encourage you that a lot of times we find ourselves in these places of captivity, these places where we feel like our purpose is frustrated, where things are not rolling the way that we want them to. But that frustration a lot of times not only drives our hunger for what we're doing, but it also gets the attention of the resources that are needed to build the way that God wants it done. So I just want to encourage you, because through their building and through their enemies hating on them and reporting them to the king, it got the king's attention to take his own resources, the resources and the riches of the kingdom that once held them captive, and to use it to help them build. So be encouraged that even though people may be hating on you, even though the powers that be are not working in your favor, it is all by design. When I read this chapter, I was reading obviously from chapter 1 and going forward. If we had the luxury of starting at chapter 4 to know that this captivity I'm currently in my chapter 1 is going to be the source of the resources from my chapter 4, we would be more patient with the process. But because God makes us walk through it, it is harder to deal with the captivity, to deal with the frustration of purpose, to deal with the waiting, the working, and the fighting for what we want. But if we only knew that chapter 4, the work of the frustration in chapter 1 is the resources of your chapter 4, your chapter 5, we would feel different. But this comes through a confidence in God, to know that, God, if you're allowing this frustration of my purpose, it is because there is a greater good. And once we read our Bible in a way that we recognize that all things work together for the good of those who love God. So even when the frustration of our purpose is happening, there is a working together for our good ultimately in every situation. So be encouraged. I love y'all. This is a Sunday Love. Have a good one.